It is Teddy Atlas. We're watching it.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Dante's
Boxing Nation. Keep watching.
But I'll tell you the one, if not that, the one I would be wearing a Golovkin hat if he wins this fight. And I don't know that it's going to happen because it's all about the money. But Andre Ward. For me, Andre Ward doesn't get enough credit.
You know, Canelo is doing to Golovkin what basically Golovkin is doing to Ward. So as frustrating as it is for Golovkin to not get Canelo, now he knows what Andre felt with him. You know, so it's the same thing. So depending on which side you want to take, it's essentially the same matter of circumstance.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, I don't know how ironic this is, but have you guys noticed within the last, let's say, 6 months to a year, how many professional boxers, trainers, and other members of the boxing community have been all of a sudden asking for this Golovkin versus Ward fight? I mean, just to name a few names off the dome right now, you have Ruslan Provodnikov, who's been saying he wants to see Golovkin challenge himself and fight against Andre Ward. He talked about how hard of a fight that would be for Gennady Golovkin. And keep in mind, when it comes to Ruslan Provodnikov, he's damn near one of Golovkin's countrymen. I mean, they're not from the exact same region, but they are both from the former Soviet Union. So you have Ruslan Provodnikov talking about this. You have Teddy Atlas. You have Roy Jones Jr. You have Paulie Malignaggi. And now you have trainer Freddie Roach that has also chimed in and gave his thoughts on this situation when it comes to Golovkin possibly emerging as pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, or even replacing Floyd Mayweather as the #1 fighter in the world. Now, before I get into what Freddie Roach had to say about Gennady Golovkin versus Andre Ward, I want to make this very clear. You know, something else I notice is the majority of times fighters, trainers, or whoever it is being interviewed, the majority of times they bring up Andre Ward's name, they're not even asked a question about Andre Ward. It's like, in a certain sense, Golovkin's name is almost synonymous with Andre Ward, which it is. Just like for years and years and years, Manny Pacquiao's name was synonymous with Floyd Mayweather. Just like Canelo's name will probably be synonymous with Golovkin for the rest of his career. Now, the reason why it was very important to note the fact that a lot of times these boxers, trainers who talk about this subject are not even asked about Golovkin versus Ward, and they just bring it up off of their own intuition, clearly suggests that they really want to see this fight. They really want to see how good Gennady Golovkin is. Now, let me go ahead and quote what Freddie Roach had to basically say to Fight Hub. Now, Fight Hub asked Freddie Roach the question, and the question was, can Gennady Golovkin take over for Floyd Mayweather? And this is what Freddie Roach had to say. Quote, maybe Andre Ward. That would be an excellent fight for Triple G. That's what he's going to have to do to become the best fighter pound for pound in this era. That's a tough task because he's, referring to Andre Ward, is a good boxer. End quote. Now, did you guys notice that Freddie Roach, he never even mentioned Canelo Alvarez's name when it comes to propelling Golovkin's career and in terms of opponents that he needs to face? You notice he never brought up Canelo Alvarez's name because he truly feels Canelo, even though that would be a big money fight for Gennady Golovkin, in terms of being one of the best fighters in the world, top 3, he doesn't believe Canelo Alvarez does anything for Gennady Golovkin's career. You know, I said a while ago when Canelo Alvarez vacated his belt and he handed it over to Gennady Golovkin, I said, if you really think about it, that move, it not only affects Canelo Alvarez in terms of his reputation, but it also affects Gennady Golovkin, because now Gennady Golovkin, he's most likely going to have to take a tougher route to pound for pound status, or even superstar / pound for pound status. If he doesn't get the opponent that he really wanted and he thought was the perfect opponent for him to beat. Now he's going to have to fight tougher guys possibly to ascend and become somewhat of a Mayweather in the sport of boxing. Now, don't get me wrong, Golovkin may not be dealing with the type of pressure that Canelo Alvarez is dealing with, but at the same time, the pressure is definitely starting to increase when it comes to Gennady Golovkin not fighting Andre Ward. Now, I actually talked to Golovkin's trainer, and I said to Abel Sanchez, I said, you know, if Andre Ward beats Sergey Kovalev, a Ward versus Golovkin fight would be the biggest fight in boxing. And he acknowledged that. He acknowledged it, and he even said, even though Abel Sanchez has predicted that Sergey Kovalev is going to knock out or beat Andre Ward, he said that if Andre Ward beats Sergey Kovalev, that they would be willing to fight him. So, you know, that's what Abel Sanchez said. We'll see. So the question is, does Gennady Golovkin want to be the best fighter in the world, or even considered top 3 one of the best fighters in the world? And really, I should be asking this question to the Golovkin fans. And when I say Golovkin fans, I'm not just talking about the comment section. I'm talking about all fans. The Golovkin fans that are in the media, all of the fans. Do you want to see Golovkin test himself and try to prove if he's the best fighter in the world, or are you content with Gennady Golovkin remaining undefeated and beating the Dominic Wades, the Adamas, the Rubios, and the Willie Monroes? That is the question right there. Now, for people that try to defend Golovkin and say, hey, well, he wants to unify the belts and he wants to break the middleweight records for the most title defenses, etc., etc., etc. Now, I don't know if you guys just start watching boxing, but just in case no one has informed you, it was Gennady Golovkin who said that he wanted to move up to 168 over a year ago and fight fighters like Chavez Jr., Carl Froch. It was Gennady Golovkin that said that he was willing to fight anyone from 154 to 175. Then they changed it to 154 to 168. And not only that, but a lot of fighters have said that they wanted to stay in one division and, you know, break the records and title defenses. I believe even Floyd Mayweather has said that at one point when he was like a lightweight. And then after he said that, he started jumping weight classes because he was looking for challenges. This is what great fighters often do. If there's no one in that one division, you move up to a higher weight class so that you can find yourself a big challenge. This is what Adrian Broner did. You know, it's funny because if Adrian Broner would have basically took the Golovkin route, Adrian Broner, he would have just stayed at 135. He probably would have still been undefeated, just like Gennady Golovkin. But of course, when Adrian Broner was at 135, the same fans that say that Golovkin should stay at 160, they were saying that Broner, he needs to step up in weight. He needs to move up in weight because he ain't fighting nobody at 135. But of course, it's a different story when you're talking about Golovkin because he has his Hope insurance. But as far as Gennady Golovkin staying at the middleweight division, I know Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez, he said that Golovkin, he wants to basically do what Bernard Hopkins did. Get a whole bunch of titles, etc., etc. The problem is, what made Bernard Hopkins, pound for pound, number one of the best fighters in the world, and what basically catapulted his career was the fact that he got to beat Felix Tito Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya, two of the biggest names in the sport of boxing at the time. Felix Trinidad was pound for pound, top 5, one of the best fighters in the world, and he was favored to beat Bernard Hopkins. So my point is, if Gennady Golovkin were to stay at the middleweight division, which I don't think he will, but if he were to stay at the middleweight division, you would have to fight those type of names. You would have to have a Sugar Ray Leonard, a Trinidad, a De La Hoya. You would have to have a big name in that division to really help propel your career. You can't just continue to fight the Dominic Wades and the Willie Monroes and expect you're going to be received like a Bernard Hopkins. It's not going to work. You need the names on your resume. So let's see what happens. We know Gennady Golovkin, he's fighting Chris Eubank most likely next. Now, I really don't know. Well, I know BJ Saunders, he doesn't want to fight Gennady Golovkin at all. Danny Jacobs, he's been saying a whole lot of different things. First, he was talking about how he has to be compensated way more than what he would get in a Sergio Mora fight if he were to fight Gennady Golovkin. Now he's saying that he's ready to fight Gennady Golovkin after his Mora fight. Hopefully Danny Jacobs is being sincere. Now, I was also told that eventually Danny Jacobs won't have a choice but to fight Golovkin or give up his belt, because according to what Abel Sanchez told me, is eventually they're going to force Danny Jacobs to either fight Golovkin or once again give up his belt the way Canelo Alvarez did. Now, let's just say if Golovkin can't get BJ Saunders or Danny Jacobs in the ring, then it's time for him to move up. And once again, we're going to find out by the end of the year who the best fighter in the world pound for pound is universally, who the undisputed pound for pound champ is in the world. Because quite frankly, right now, Andre Ward is pound for pound the best fighter in the world. And that's simply because when Floyd was number one, we know who was always number two. The person that was always number two behind Floyd was Andre Ward. In fact, there was even debates on the internet of who was really the best, Ward or Floyd Mayweather. Okay? So Andre Ward is already the best fighter in the world right now, simply because I don't believe anyone can beat him right now. Anyone in his own division. He's fighting at 175, so anyone from 168 to 175, I don't believe can actually beat Andre Ward. I believe Andre Ward is going to beat Sergey Kovalev because he hasn't had a loss since he was 12 years old. You know, a lot of people don't know this about Andre Ward, but Andre Ward, he fought in the Olympics at 175, but he didn't fight at 175 because he was a light heavyweight. He fought at 175 because him and his good friend Andre Durrell, they made a pact to where they wouldn't fight against each other. And they wanted to both be able to go to the Olympics as friends. So Andre Ward made a serious sacrifice just for his friend to go up to a higher weight class and fight bigger, stronger fighters in the most competitive tournament in all of amateur boxing. And he still won the gold medal. So because of that versatility, because of the adversity has persevered through, I cannot see anyone beating Andre Ward right now. The only person I would see beating Andre Ward is another Andre Ward, if it was a mirror match. But outside of that, I don't see Sergey Kovalev beating Andre Ward. So with that being said, this is the reason why Andre Ward is pound for pound the best fighter in the world. And once he beats Sergey Kovalev, that'll just solidify it. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, and I'll leave you with this question one more time. So boxing fans, you have to ask yourself deep down, would you rather Gennady Golovkin just continue to fight C level or B minus level competition and him remain undefeated? Or would you rather him challenge himself and try to become the best fighter in the world pound for pound and take on the winner of Sergey Kovalev versus Andre Ward? That's all I got for now. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.